let's get into the business. So I'm going to allow members to read their statements into the records. We had received them in writing. So we'll start with DG Ngwenya. You'll read your statement into the records. I'm still going to write or have a session with legal about this, because I think I've got a responsibility to protect the integrity of the sitting. We'll have a sitting with legal to discuss whether what we are doing is correct or not. So I'm going to give you to DG Ngwenya. Take us through with your letter.
Good morning, Honorable Chair, honorable members.
Far, let's be closer to the mic.
Good morning, Honorable Chair, honorable members, DG, and colleagues.
Hold on, DG. Colleagues, please. I've said that it's almost 11. We don't have time. We must be out of here at 1. Please.
Thank you, Chair. May I request, before I read out the statement, to just say a few words, with your permission. At the meeting of the 18th of July, 2025, my apology for not attending the meeting was tendered. But beyond the apology, there were unintended implications for the Office of the Director General, which I profoundly regret. It was me just trying to provide the context of the apology, but it created some aspersion to the office, and I want to sincerely apologize. The letter...
Hold on. What is the point of order?
Thank you, Chair. The point of order was on procedure. Remember, in the last sitting, people were asked to take oath for their presentations. Advocate Terumutau and Ntate Ngubane. That has not been followed for the panelists here. Please, can we follow suit?
Okay. No, I think it's in order. For the first time today, at least we are in order. I'm joking, Honorable Khacha. Ms. Ngema, if you can help us with our people to take oath or affirmation.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, unfortunately, I don't have the names of the panel members that are talking today, so I'm going to request them to first say their names, then I'll administer the oath.
DG Ngwenya.
Ma'am, who is already on the podium, may I request that you loudly, for the record, indicate your full names. Thank you.
Rulani Ngwenya.
Ms. Ngwenya, do you swear that the evidence you are about to give and the information you will present before the committee today is the truth and nothing else but the truth? You have two options to make that indication. You can indicate either via oath or an affirmation. If it's an oath, you are swearing before God. If it's an affirmation, you confirm through your conscience that you will speak the truth. Which one do you choose between an oath and affirmation?
An oath, please.
I'm going to repeat again then. Do you swear that the evidence and the information you're about to give today before the committee will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If it is so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you, Chairperson. The oath has been administered.
Nelisiwe, please say your names.
Nelisiwe Semane,
Ms. Semane, I have to administer an oath for the evidence or affirmation on the information you will indicate. Please tell this committee which one you choose between the oath and an affirmation.
oath, please.
Ms. Semane, do you swear that the evidence and the information you will give before the committee today is the truth and nothing but the truth? If it is so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you, Chairperson. Oath administered.
Solani,
My name is Asisi Posolan.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Zolani, do you choose an oath or an affirmation for the evidence and information you're about to give before the committee today?
I choose the oath.
Please raise your right hand and confirm that the information and evidence you're about to give before the committee today will be the truth and nothing but the truth. If that is the case, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you. Oath administered, Chairperson.
DDG Ngwenya, can continue.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair. It is a letter that was directed to the Honorable T.W. Letsie. It is a letter that was directed to the Honorable T.W. Letsie, following a request to provide information in respect of my role in the advisory panel for the selection and recommendation of SETA Accounting Authority chairpersons. And the letter reads thus. Your correspondence dated 19 June 2025 bears reference. In September-October 2024, following consultation between the Director General Dr. Sishi and the Honorable Minister Dr. Nobuhle Nkabane, a decision was taken to relocate the responsibility of managing nominations for non-executive board members for entities within the department to the program corporate services. While I accepted the transfer of this function, I also indicated that due to the high vacancy rate at both middle and senior management within the Chief Directorate Human Resources, and given the confidential nature of the function, I will be required to undertake the responsibilities personally. In March 2025, I was formally appointed and/or assigned through a written correspondence by the Honorable Minister to provide secretarial support function to the nomination panel responsible for the selection of chairpersons of SETA Accounting Authority. I viewed this as an assignment of duty rather than a formal appointment, and as such, I did not deem it necessary to formally accept the assignment in writing. I was neither compensated nor remunerated against my appointment as a secretariat. I wish to clarify that all communications with Advocate Terry Mutau, SC, was undertaken as part of my secretarial support services to the nomination panel. I contacted Advocate Terry Mutau via telephone and also on WhatsApp, and strictly for the purpose of securing Advocate Mutau's availability in order to facilitate a nomination panel meeting. I was not involved in the approval process of the 21 nominees who were ultimately appointed as chairpersons of various SETAs accounting authorities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Masimane.
My letter was addressed to Honorable Leti, the chairperson. It says, I acknowledge receipt of your letter dated 19 June 2025. I am a chief of staff in the office of the Minister of Higher Education. While my name appears on the list of panel members for the selection and recommendation of SETA's accounting authority chairpersons, it is because the minister submitted a list that includes all the panels that she appointed since taking office. I did not participate in the selection and recommendation of SETA accounting authority chairpersons, but participated in the process for the recommendation of SETA accounting authorities, not board chairpersons. The minister's list of panel members was all-inclusive and did not make distinction between participation in accounting authorities and participating in SETA board chairperson selection and recommendation. As a public servant, I was not paid any additional remuneration for my participation in the selection and recommendation of accounting authorities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Solani.
Thank you, Chair. My letter was in response to Honorable W.T. Leti, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education and Training. And the letter reads as follows. Dear Honorable Leti, in response to the request for the information and respect in my role in nomination process for the selection and recommendations of the SETA Authority Chairperson, I acknowledge the receipt of your letter dated 19 June 2025, and I have attached a marked annexure of the letter issued by the Minister formally appointing me for the nomination committee. And I've also attached the annexure B, which is the terms of reference presented in the Portfolio Committee on the 30th of May. And I do confirm that I did not receive any additional payment, allowances, or investment in respect to my participation on the nomination committee. I discharge this role in my capacity as advisor to the Minister. No compensation beyond my regular salary was provided. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. There was a letter I'm trying to search for it, which we addressed to the DG. We've not received a response. I'm not sure. We'll have to check. But DG, there was a letter written to us by somebody who said, they've received. Oh, that, open it, the response. That they were coerced into being members of the panel, and so this person wrote to us, does not have a date, but we got it. And this person says to us, I'm going to read their letter, which I want us to when you respond, I'm sure members will ask you questions on it. We'll also read the response. So this person says, this is my personal account and comes at a time when my life has been threatened for refusing to put my name into a non-existing independent panel for SETA appointments. I was approached by Mr. Sipho Solani, whom I had worked with in one of the ministries in government. My coming out is informed by the gallant spirit of our forebears, who want us not to auction our revolution. As I write this, I'm heavily pregnant, and just like Mama Thandi Modise, who gave birth in person, I'm not scared to come out. SETA approached me 2 days after the president had requested the report from the minister on the city appointments and her behavior in parliament. He assured that my name would be protected and that because I was a junior official doing an MBA, I will not be called to account for my involvement by any state or government apparatus. As a young mother, I was promised that the future of my children would be taken care of and will be rewarded once the matter had died down. I considered this request as a cover-up and was not happy with the terms of arrangement. I remembered Comrade Jonas when the Guptas tried to bribe him. Okay, sorry, let me read. Sorry, let me read the letter. Okay, apologies. Apologies. I will pretend as if he or she did not mention the Guptas. Can I continue? This thing of the Guptas doesn't sit well with MK. I'm sorry, but let me read the letter.
Chair, on a point of order, that's very important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see, Desiree, you raise your hand. You raise your hand, not open the mic. What is your point of order?
Well, my point is order, can you continue reading and ignore the humbly, like you normally stop me when I interject?
Okay. Okay. No, I'm reading everything. What is the problem now? Because I'm continuing.
Chairperson, you know, very little things soil the integrity and our image as this committee. What you are reading is a very important letter from somebody who I can term a whistleblower about the process, which is why we're here. We can't mud it by making jokes about it. And if the MK party is aggrieved about their history, it's not something that this committee should deliberate on right now. Please, can I protect you on behalf of yourself?
No.
Continue and read the
No,
letter, please.
you are provoking those people. You see this thing of political statements. Yes, Mrs.
Mhlambe Chair kumele siyekele into yesingisi because we did not go to multiracial schools. Chair, the letter or WhatsApp that you are reading is very, well, from where I'm seated, seems very important. Would appreciate a situation where, Chair, you share it with us so that we can also have a point of reference, because now people are very excited. MK doesn't have history of anything that is contained in that letter or WhatsApp that you are reading. So people must not be excited. Can we really be orderly? I don't want to say the meeting is degenerating because people went to Twitter and everywhere else just to score points about saying degenerate. So can we be orderly, Chair, and focus on what we are doing? Thank you very much.
Okay. Send right. Zondo, you don't have a point of order.
In fact, I raised my hand, Chair, before Msezana. Thanks for giving this opportunity. I think, Chair, we have a limited time.
Yeah.
We need to continue. Let's stop playing. This is an important matter.
Thank you.
Please continue to read whatever word that is written there, but please share it with us. Those.
Thank you. So at least I've allowed you to speak. You'll allow me to read now. So we'll not have any bickering. Okay, I'm continuing. I considered this request as a cover-up and was not happy with the terms of arrangement. I remembered Comrade Jonas when the Guptas tried to bribe him. I literally cringed when Mr. Solani said he had himself taken a huge gamble and that we were going to be protected. Apparently, he had also arranged meetings with some lawyer who was supposed to be the chairperson of the panel. I never met with any panel member. As a young former activist in the Youth League, I was caught in the crosshairs. Oh yeah, of the first, you know it, crosshairs, as I could not betray my own comrades. However, when I was pushed to have my name released, I spoke to our family trustee and she advised that I rebuff the request. This was communicated to Mr. Solani and encouraged me to be on board as the popular protected us. I was advised by a family trustee that this matter was in the public already and in the interest of the public. I then refused to have my name released and was then threatened that I would lose my job as my boss was a junior to the minister. I'm coming out because I'm likely to be victimized and that these threats are now mutating into criminal behavior. But I'm a committed South African who saw how corruption in the city stole from the poor of the poorest. I'm disappointed that the pressure I'm being put under is happening under our lofty and celebrated constitution, where the people who are supposed to be our guardians, just as we celebrated the anniversary of the Constitutional Court. What a disgrace. I'm suspended for my refusal to lie. I'm ready to come out. This is not a threat but a commitment to a clean, corrupt, free country. Where is that letter? Give it to me now. Or you opened it there. So we then wrote to the department to respond. And I do have a letter dated, when was this? 11, dated 11 July. It reads as follows. Response to allegations leveled against Mr. Solani, advisor to the minister. Hold on. Okay. Response to the allegations against Mr. Solani, bracket advisors to the minister by Ms. Dilega Mbuso. The above heading, as well as your letter to me dated 25 June, which is attached here and marked Annex A best reference. I've read the undated letter containing the allegations raised by Ms. Dilega Mbuso and attached it herein marked Annex B. Subsequent to me having read the letter, I undertaken a departmental internal investigation to ascertain the Directorate Human Resource condition of service as to the employment status of Dilega Mbuso. The investigation revealed that Ms. Dilega Mbuso is not an employee of the department as alleged in her letter, and her allegations are therefore not true and misleading. Kindly see Ms. Chamani's email on 8 July, which stated that the official referred to in your correspondence is not in the post establishment attached here and marked Annex C. I hope my response clarifies the chairperson's letter to me. So I thought I must just read that information to you so that when you engage with members, you also engage on that. So we are now, before I give members to engage, let me see. Yeah, where are those minutes? Let's, because you have a tendency of not passing minutes. You run away after you've asked questions. We've sent you emails, minutes that must be, and the report that must be adopted, the dates. Yeah, the minutes are 2 July, 16 July, and 18 July. 18 July was last Friday. So those are the minutes we've sent you. Can I see anyone with the hands that seeks to correct any of the minutes? No correction. Can I see anybody who's adopting the minutes of the 3 sets of minutes? So you're not adopting your own minutes. So it means you can't raise your hand for questions because you participated in those minutes, Mos. Zondo?
Chair, I think I've looked at the minutes, and one meeting I sent an apology. So if it's a package, I can't adopt them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are adopting which ones? Which ones are you adopting?
All those, the two that I was present in, resident adoption. Procedural, I can't adopt them.
When were you absent? The 16th? On Wednesday, ne? Yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday I sent an apology.
So you are moving for the adoption of the 2nd and the 18th
Yes, Chair.
of July. Can I get a seconder for those ones? The 2nd and the 18th of July? Honorable Ngubane?
I second them, Chair. Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Proposed.
Can I have somebody who moves for the adoption of the meeting of the 16th of July, last week Wednesday? Honorable Khabo?
Chair, I move for the adoption of the minutes of the 16th of July as a true reflection.
Can I get a seconder? Honorable Yang?
A second, Chair.
Then we've also sent you a G20 report for those who went there. At least 4 of us, or 5 of us, 1, 2, 3. When we went to G20, we sent you a G20 in Durban, sent you a report on what we saw there. And it's a report that we felt we must submit to Parliament, especially when it comes to GBV. So we've sent it to you some time back. Honorable Zondo, Honorable Governor, Honorable Msezana, Honorable Ngubane and myself were there. Can I get somebody who would move for the adoption of that particular report? Honorable Msezana?
Angibonge Sihlalo, I move for the adoption of the minutes of that oversight.
Honorable Zondo, ngigcoke amabhanki afanayo namhlanje. Honorable Zondo?
No, I'm seconding that.
Thank you very much. The report is seconded. Well done. So let's go now to engagement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and Baneng 11. So because you are 11, I'm trying to divide my time here so that I can see. Okay. It's 11:15. So each one of us will have 7 minutes. I am going to start with Honorable Zondo. You will be number 1. Hold on. Honorable Yanga will be number 2. Lonzi, 3. Mkize, 4. Khakau, 5. Desire, 6. Msezana, Ubane, Souls, Khabo. Yeah. Honorable Zondo, your clock starts now.
Can I be number 2, Chair? There's something that I'm sorting out.
No. Let's go.
All right, thanks, Chair. There's something that I lost here in my phone, so I was trying to locate it so that I will be precise on my questionnaire in terms of the names. But my first question to Mr. Solani is that, have you ever met Advocate Advocate Mudau? Yes, Mudau. Have you ever met Advocate Mudau?
Yes, Honorable Member, I have.
In your discussion with Advocate Mudau, is there anything that you talk about that pertaining the process of appointing the panel or appointing the board, the SETA boards?
Can you be explicit, member, in your, so that I can get a sense of exactly of the question?
No, the question is straight. You said you interacted with Advocate Mudau, and then I'm saying in your interaction, in whatever way, did you interact and touch the processes and the proceedings to appoint the panel or to be part of the panel?
Well, our interaction with Advocate Terry Mutau was of the overview process that ought to be followed. So he had not yet got into any details of the process.
Okay. When you interacted with Advocate Mudau, your interaction was, he was on which capacity?
When you are saying member, which capacity, again, I will request for you to become clear on the question.
When the minister was telling us about the panel, there was a point whereby he said Advocate Mudau was to be a chairperson. And Advocate Mudau said there was no meeting that he ever set of the panel, let alone chairing it. And last week, Advocate said that he had a meeting with you, and that's why I'm asking your discussion on those meetings, and where did you left it?
Okay, like I would have mentioned earlier, the meeting with Advocate Terry was to have an introductory and an overview discussion on the process that was going to follow. And that was the essence of that brief meeting.
Then what happened next after that discussion?
Again, I'm going to request you to be more explicit when you're saying what happened next. Exactly what are you?
You said you had a meeting with the advocate, and then the next step, because advocate told us that the last time we spoke to you, you were preparing for a next meeting, and that next meeting you were nowhere to be found, and thereafter he saw his name appeared to be the chairperson of the panel. Then that's why I want to get your involvement in terms of facilitating the panel, because remember what you said on the opening statement. Then I want to align that with what we know. So can you not play around, because my time is going? Please, precisely give us answers that we want. Your interaction with advocate and why that interaction didn't materialize into the desired outcome.
Okay, I think it becomes critical, honorable member, for me to be able to give a context. So, and I've met with the Advocate Terry, and I've met him once. It would be a firstly introductory session to have a conversation around the process that is going to unfold, as the minister would have requested. And unfortunately, we did not meet thereafter. And of course, the convening of the meetings would have not been on my, there would have been a secretary that would run convening of the meetings and setting up. But I do think on hindsight that in two folds. The first aspect would have been an incomplete process of appointing Advocate Tau in terms of having an attorney to instruct. And that would then begin to nullify his appointment process, that it was not there. It remains an intention. If we look at it, he brings that into perspective. But we will not be able to meet after that. And I think also the issues of time frame and schedules just really could not, and the time was very little and there's pressure on that. So with Advocate, I met to discuss the overview process, that there's this assignment and yeah, that's my interaction with
Okay,
Advocate.
you know, that's why Chair said we need Advocate. I'm happy that Nkubane is here. Because Advocate said that when you met him, you came with a time frame for that the minister has given you to execute. And his response that I think made you to teach him was to say this time frame is not possible. Then when you are talking diving like this, you are telling me that what Advocate said, it is the truth of the matter, and you don't want to respond on that.
Thank you. It was a comment that you're saying. Honorable Govan.
Chair, I think looking at the responses and the letters, it really does limit our time to engage with panelists, so-called panelists, because all of them did not participate. So it's actually time consuming to even ask them questions because they were not part of panels in any panel sitting meeting. So from where I'm standing, Chair, the only thing that I can comment on this matter will be those who are still within the department, for future references, may they execute duties that are legislated within their scope of work so that we do not come back to these meetings of interrogating their capacity or capability of doing their work. Because others, Chair, by virtue of their work, they were supposed to execute this task, either whether they were written a letter or not, but they were supposed to be part and panel of this recruitment. And also, maybe we'll just go to the meeting that was last week. There were some members, some invitees that did not attend the meeting. Maybe caution for the next time that if really you are called to account, it's proper that you do. And we must not find our spaces, we must not find ourselves feeling that we are being disrespected by you while you are in the department and you are obligated to come and account on the committee. But Chair, this thing is like saying, do you know Yanga, whereas you have never met Yanga? So they don't know anything. That's why I kept on saying, shame ezi aramazazinto, sifuna ntoni kuzo.
Okay. Lonzi?
No, thank you, Chair. Sifun is Aram, Chair. DDG Ngwenya. How many meetings of the advisory independent panel did you participate in?
I did not participate in any formal. I did not participate in any formal meeting of the advisory, though I have had discussions with various people about the process
So there were no meetings.
that I attended, no.
So how do you think the 21 names came about? Because the report that we are getting, at least from all of you, even from the ones that are saying they didn't participate in meetings, is that the core business of this panel, because there's the functionary of the department fetching the nominations and whatever, but the core business of this panel was to arrive at the 21 names which must then be appointed as chairs of SETA boards. The son of Gwede Mantashe was appointed as a result of this panel. Even the current, they just appointed now deputy minister. I'm waiting for her. Currently the deputy minister was just been appointed. The former premier of the ANC in KZN was also appointed in those boards. So if there were no meetings, how did we get to those names? According to your understanding, as someone who has experience and has been dealing with this thing in the department.
I don't know what process will have been followed. Responding generally will be that the panel will have said it is not more making recommendations, because the mandate of the panel was to review the list of nominations and recommend a pool of suitable candidates from which the minister will finally make a selection.
But you're saying there was no meeting, DDG?
Yes, I've responded, honorable member, to say,
Yeah.
I don't know the process. The second part, I was just responding generally, but I have no idea.
And you have never received a meeting invite?
I should have been the one to set up the meeting invite.
Even worse, you are the one who was supposed to set up the meeting. But there was not a single meeting that set of the panel. But there are 21 names. The son of Gwede is there. ANC comrades are there. Former premier of KZN is there. And the secretary of the panel, which is yourself, you are saying you never set up any meeting. Am I understanding you correctly, DDG?
Yes, honorable member.
No, thank you, DDG. Mr. Chief of Staff, how many meetings did you participate in the panel?
Honorable member, like I said in my letter, I was not part of the panel for the board chairpersons. So
Were
I
you
did
sent
not attend any
a
meeting.
letter to appoint you?
May you please repeat that?
Were you sent a letter to appoint you to the panel?
No.
But your name was on the list.
Yes.
How did it arrive there?
My name was there because I participated in the selection of SETA accounting authorities, not
Yeah,
the
but
board chairpersons.
our request, if you listen to the portfolio committee meeting, was specifically on the point of the accounting authority chairpersons. We don't dispute the process of accounting authorities. The coordinator of SETAs explained it to us. He was here to say you will gazette. All of you, we know you would have participated. We're not discussing that. We're discussing the board chairpersons. Your name appeared as having participated in that process, and you are saying you didn't participate. So How would you explain? How did it get there?
Like I said, the minister put my name there not because I was part of the chairpersons, only the members. The only thing I would have done in the process of chairpersons was to receive the communication to the minister, not that I participated in any selection of the.
But the minister
chairpersons.
was asked about the panel of chairpersons and said you are in the panel of chairpersons. We're not talking about the other ordinary board members. The panel of chairpersons was very specific, and your name was there, and you are saying you didn't participate in it.
Honorable member, I cannot respond on behalf of the minister, so I don't know.
No, thank you very much. Lastly, Mr. Solani, how many meetings of the panel did you participate in?
I think, honorable member, as the secretariat of the panel would have mentioned, that the secretariat would have been discharged with the responsibility. One, to take the minutes, also to convene the meetings of the panel.
So, okay, so you are concurring with the secretary that there was no meeting?
Please, honorable member, can you allow me to make my point?
I don't have time, that's why. So I just want the questions to be, the responses to be pointed. I'm left with less than 50 seconds. Because if you are captured by the secretary, then I want to move on. That there was no meeting of the panel.
Yes, if the secretariat of the panel did not convene the meeting, therefore there was no meeting of the panel.
And you also would know this because you've never sat in one.
Yes,
Yeah, so you don't need the secretary to confirm it. You know yourself that you never sat in any meeting, so there was no meeting.
the point honorable member was trying to make is that even if we were to sit a meeting, if the meeting is not convened by the person that is discharged with that responsibility, the legitimacy of that meeting becomes questionable.
Last question to the DG of the department, then I close, Chair. DG, now we've asked everyone in your department. The coordinator of SETA spoke to us last week. Advocate Tari spoke to us. The DDG, Chief of Staff, including the advisor. Because remember, part of what we're trying to achieve here is that we don't want this to repeat itself. That's why we insisted to conclude this process. It's not about the minister. It's not a personal battle. We're trying to create a law and a legislation that is going to guide the future appointments of SETA board chairpersons and the like. So my question to you then is, if there was no meeting of the panel, if the secretary never called any meeting, effectively there was no panel, where do you think those names would have come from? And as a follow-up to that, how would you advise that moving forward, this process must take place? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. It is very clear to me from what the colleagues are saying that there weren't any meetings that were held. So clearly, I think answers about names that were considered could come from the accounting authority, who then produced the list that was tabled to the National Skills Authority. Because the first time I saw the list was when I attended the meeting of the National Skills Authority, at which it was tabled for approval.
Kize.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Yeah, your time had long expired, so it's grace. I'm giving you from my, no, now you are abusing it. DG.
I think I could answer on behalf of all DGs because the answer will be the same. It's important to give the accounting officers the responsibility so that you hold them accountable for administrative processes. So going forward, I think what will happen is that we'll have to follow the law, follow the policies, follow the prescripts of the law in terms of how these processes are. If we are unhappy with the processes, we amend the law and follow it because it assists the transparency of the process. But we must also allow for innovation. For example, I have no problem with an issue of an independent panel. I can tell you, I have run national exams for this country for more than 20 years. Independent panels of examiners is what I've been doing over many years. We've developed processes for developing them. There's never been controversy. Instead, integrity of those processes has been the cornerstone of and hallmark of our processes. So I never had a problem with the notion of an arm's length team of people who have the expertise to support the minister to arrive at a set of recommendations. So going forward, I will still propose some kind of process a little distant from just the people who are there to process matters. I will still recommend that we write it in the law that such a panel is established. If we write it in the law, it will assist us to hold them accountable should anything happen in that regard. Thank you.
Kize.
Thank you very much, Chair. I will start with Mr. Solani. Greetings, member. Here you have stated in your letter that you participated in the committee as an advisor to the minister. May you please share with this committee, how was your participation in the process?
I think it becomes, because I would have been playing a responsibility of being an advisor to the minister and ultimately had received a appointment letter for advisor of the panel. So now it becomes very, especially in an event where the panel did not actually convene, to then say distinguish some of the responsibilities that we have discharged. But I would have been playing a role of being able to communicate as well with other members on certain interventions and what minister would have requested that must be done. So it becomes a thin line, in particularly in a process that we're saying there was never a meeting that was convened to sit as a panel.
So basically, advisors provide technical advices, technical, procedural, as experts. I'm just looking to those specifically. Did you perhaps, one way or the other, give an advice or a recommendation of a particular candidate to be appointed after your expert consideration?
So the honorable member is asking if I would have given a particular name recommended.
Yes, as an expert, because that's why you're an advisor. Did you, one way or the other, advise the minister to appoint a particular candidate as per your expert understanding?
I think the process would...
Switch off your mic, yeah. Let me protect the member. They are here as panelists. So they are here to speak on the roles that they've played as panel members and not as advisor or chief of staff. Even their letters that we had written, the invitation is clear. We want to know their roles or the roles that they've played as panelists. So let's stick to the issue of them being panelists and not
No,
as
Chair.
an advisor.
On the letter, he's saying he participated as an advisor. That's what he's saying himself in the letter. That's why I seek to understand how was your participation as an advisor in relation to nominations that were there, if you gave any technical advice to appoint a particular individual. But Chair, I'm willing to let go of this question if perhaps the respondent may not be able to answer.
I think, like I would have mentioned, the tricky part or the difficulty or the thin line would have been panel member and then advisor on the side.
So there was some confusion going on there.
I would not say confusion. I did not mention.
Please characterize it, sir.
That is why I've characterized it that there is a thin line. That is my characterization of it. It's not. So it then
Let me move, honorable member, respectfully. So, if you could clarify as well, did you play any role in the approval process of nominees? It's a yes or no kind of a question.
And unfortunately, member, I would have to respond, and please allow me to do that. I think if the panel have not said to convene and recommend, and so it means that that part is out. Secondly, the question of approval of names is solo on the powers given by the Skills Act to the minister. So it's a minister that would have approved names. I do not have the capacity to approve names.
Okay, thank you, member. May I move to Ms. Rulani Ngwenya? And you are stating in your letter that you participated in providing secretariat support function, but you were not involved in the approval process of nominees. Are you aware of any of such process that took place? If yes, may you please clarify for this committee, what was that approval process, if any took place?
Excuse me. Thank you for that question. I don't know what the approval process that will have been undertaken. My role was to support the chairperson, convene the meeting, and make sure that there are records of the meetings. The understanding, and I'm saying this as a practice of what will have happened in other committees, was that at the conclusion, a report will then be generated. And the chair was going to guide on who signs the report. And the chair will then hand over the report. That is a standard practice. But in this case, Honorable Chair, I do not know what process was undertaken to facilitate the approval.
So
in my capacity as secretariat of the committee. I apologize. I apologize sincerely.
no, I think I got the response. For the sake of time, Chair, and I hope you paused when you were talking, Chair. So I will move quickly to, okay, before I move, I just want to put on record, Chair, that it seems nobody knew what was the process and if it took place. And that should speak volumes to how the minister conducted herself. If the technocrats around her were really clueless if things happen and what processes are followed. I'm moving to the last point. I'm going to Ms. Nelisiwe Semane. You are putting in your letter, ma'am, that you did not participate in the selection and recommendation of SETA's accounting authority chairpersons, but you participated in the recommendation of SETA's accounting authorities, not board of chairpersons. Are you aware of any meeting which was dealing with the board of chairpersons? If yes, how was it conducted and who took part in making sure that it is organized?
Thank you, Honorable Member. No, I'm not aware.
Of any. So clearly, Chair, things were happening in the evening somewhere. And that should somehow be part of our substantive report as the committee. Because clearly, there's no crime scene here that is identified. There's no process spoken to. Obviously, you can see how the greatest son or child got into
Thank you
the
very
board.
much, Honorable Khakao. Yeah, we're on number 5. Let's go. Yeah. Sorry? Yes.
Ke a leboha modulasetulo. Mme Ngwenya, why, if you were appointed the secretariat of the committee or the panel, what informed your decision to not set up or convene the panel?
My contact or attempts to contact Advocate Terry Mutau was for him and I to sit and undertake some planning, an introduction, and agree on how the work was gonna unfold.
Mute yourself, thank you. So I think you know by now that 7 minutes is very little time. So if you saying, so you didn't, because Advocate Teremutau was not a success, you didn't meet. Were you aware, when the chairperson, when the Dr. Nkabane appointed you the responsibility to do the secretariat job, did she give you all the other people that she had appointed so that you know who you are supposed to set the panel with, or did she only tell you of Ntate Mutau?
I was appointed, it was indicated that Advocate Mutau is the chair. And I was also provided with Advocate Mutau's contact numbers.
Okay, but other people, that's the question. Apart from Mutau, we know about Mutau. The other people that she had sent appointment letters to, did you know who those people were?
I did not have a discussion with the minister. I simply received the letters.
So when you didn't succeed with Advocate Mutau, you didn't seek to meet with the other people, notwithstanding that part of the letters you would have would be another chairperson's letter of appointment being Mabuza Ngubane?
No, Honorable Member. There were communications between Advocate Mutau and I. And at some point, he was busy that we could not sit. But I did not.
You're not answering my questions. And
I want to explain why
No,
I
no,
will not.
here, let me guide you. The primary question is, why did you not set up the meeting? We know that your attempts with Mutau were not successful. That's not a question, so I don't need you to reiterate that. But if you are in possession of all the other people that the minister has appointed, when you fail with Mutau, why did you not convene the rest? Where did you get the instruction to no longer proceed with the panel?
There was no instruction to no longer proceed, but there was never a conclusion between the process I was embarking on with Advocate Mutau. So it never got to a point where he said he's no longer participating. It was just that the times were not aligned.
And so by coincidence, you just left the process as is because you're like, I don't know where I am, and you did not consult anyone who did not give you any instruction.
I think the process was then overtaken by events given the delay.
DG, Sishi, you, on the meeting that we had on the 30th of May, I myself asked the department, including yourself, if anybody knew anything about this panel. You said you knew absolutely nothing about this panel. Now today you're sitting here saying that you you have never been allergic from the onset of the idea of a panel justifying its work. That being said, is DDG Ngwenya lying when she says that yourself and Minister Nkabane together engaged her about the setup of this panel, resulting in a letter that appoints her for secretarial functions of the panel?
I think consistently, each time I've been asked the question, I have indicated I've never been involved in the appointment of the panel. Secondly, the minister herself confirmed that I've never been involved in the setting of the panel. But all this other time, I'm still the DG, which means there are certain things that can happen. For example, the movement, because that's what she said, the movement of the function to the branch that she's responsible for.
I'm gonna pause you. I'm pausing you there because I've heard you. It's fine. So the confirmation is that she's not lying. You were aware because you're the DG and you're her line manager. There's no way movements to functions can happen without her. That's okay. Ndata Solan,
I don't know if
did the former minister consult you as her advisor in ministry before she signed the final appointment letters?
She would not, I don't think she would be really.
Did she, yes or no? That's it. It's okay to say you are her advisor. We know there was no panel and you've already admitted yourself that you never sat in a meeting of a panel. Move that aside. You remained her advisor. Before she signed the appointment letters to give them to the people, did she consult you to say, as my advisor, do you think these appointments make sense or not? Yes or no?
Again, hold on. Again, I must come in. I told you, we have invited them in their roles as panelists, not their other jobs. I came in when Mkize asked, and I'm coming in again. Let's not ask them about other issues outside of what we have called them here for. So please ask a different question. You have 33 seconds.
Chairperson, we can easily accuse you of being a goalkeeper in this process, but it's fine.
No, you can accuse me of anything.
Wena
Continue.
Solani, did you facilitate the process in any way of the appointment of Dr. Nkabane's SETA board chairpersons and any other ANC cadre, either sitting as a MP or sitting in any structures of the ANC?
Can you please repeat the question properly so that I can be able to respond to you properly? Because when you're saying in any way, it becomes way too broad for me to get.
I'm asking, have you?
Thank you very much.
You gave Sihle the grace and you took my time when you were talking
no,
and
I
you didn't
paused your
pause
time.
it. No,
I
Chairperson.
did.
You're not
Desiree?
being fair. Chairperson,
Desiree,
you
come here.
allowed Lonzi Grace to conclude on a question. Seconds
Yeah,
later,
it was
you must be
relevant.
consistent.
You're speaking over the chair again.
No, but you're being a
You are
bully
speaking over
again.
the
What
chair.
are you hiding,
Switch off,
Tebogoletsi?
switch off your mic.
Why do you not want us to engage with these
Honorable
people
Kakao,
honestly?
I'm warning you.
You are warning me because you do not want the
Honorable
truth to come
Kakao,
out about what exactly happened
stop
here.
acting.
I'm not
You are not on TV.
acting. I am not acting.
You are.
You are bothered because you have something to
Yeah,
hide.
what's the point of order? Yeah. No, she's acting. It's okay. Honorable.
Chair,
yes?
order.
Yes.
Oh, Chair,
Yeah.
you see, every time in this committee, we are not going to have this dialogue to take place at the presence of the South Africans who would want to know what is happening in the country.
Yeah.
If you have overruled, we have overruled, we listen to you as the chair, then we proceed. My worry is that we are degenerating and we are not getting to the bottom of this. Please.
No, I hear you. People think we're acting, we're on TV, we're on Movango. They're just doing it for that. So we understand. We've got a duty here too. Time is done. You can't say just because the chair allowed Msezana 30 seconds more, the chair must allow you. That's on the discretion of the chair. So I'm not giving her because the questions are not relevant. It's asking questions that I've overruled on Mkhize. And you're wasting time on this one. Desiree, let's go. And I've said, you know, I'm going to be very strict on the rules and ask people to be removed in our meetings because they know the rules are that when the chair, you don't speak over the chair. But we've got people who want to trend and create content at the expense of the work that we're supposed to do. Desiree?
Chair, thank you. I'm going to ask my question, first question to all three the members that spoke, the guests that spoke. And the first one would be that, first of all, do any one of you believe that your employment status is in danger for appearing here today? That's the first question to all three. The other question I have is to Mr. Sulani specific. You
Give them to answer the question.
Okay.
There's a question to all of you. Do you think, please repeat the question to them directly.
Yeah, just a very direct response because I've got other questions. Do you believe that appearing here today is putting your employment status in danger? If so, why? Start with Ms. Ngwenya, Ms. Samani, and then Mr.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I will not necessarily say it puts the employment status in jeopardy. But when you are a senior member of government, trust is central to the type of relationship that must exist. And somehow, the participation in this process may have fractured.
That's enough. We have 7 minutes and we've got many questions to Ms. Samani.
Thank you, Honorable Member. No, I don't believe me appearing here put jeopardy to my contract. Thank you.
Mr. Sul
I think, Honorable Member, I'm not quite convinced by any chance when you are accounting publicly, being called to Parliament, it would put any danger of employment. And by the way, the minister has been released yesterday, so I'm a political appointee, so I'm unemployed technically. So there's no danger. There can't be any danger on something I don't have.
Okay, so, well, in your future endeavors, sir, can you please explain to us, you actually went with Mr. Luvo Makazi to Advocate Terry Matau to, I assume, to convince him to participate or be the chairperson. Who is Mr. Luvo Makazi and why did he go with you? What role was he playing in this whole panel thing?
Thank you, Honorable Member, for that question. Let me start here. So Luvo Makasi is an admitted attorney that many years back was studying at UWC. I was also studying at UWC. And would happen to be in the same church denomination. The PAL branch is in the Eastern Cape.
I don't want to be rude. I want to know why he went with you and why did you ask him in what capacity was he attending?
I'm attempting to respond, Honorable Member.
Taking a long dive. I don't want to hear the past. I want to know why he went. He's not working for the department, or was he?
Okay. So when the decision to appoint Advocate Terry was taken, I would have needed someone that is in the legal fraternity because it was difficult to get hold of Advocate Terry because of his schedule. So the only reason that Mr. Makasi was there was to facilitate that first interaction with Advocate Terry because they are both in the legal fraternity. So when I asked around, you would have said, no, I've worked with Advocate Terry in the legal space before. So he was solo there to be able to facilitate an interaction He's not a part of the department. He did not even partake on the conversation. It was only introductory. And again, the nature of that meeting was purely introductory. There was nothing sensitive, extensive spoken about. It was just to be able to add the name and the face so that I can be able to liaise with Advocate Terry and be able to communicate with him later, because they are both in the legal fraternity.
So Chair, to you, sir, there's no payment required because he was not acting in his professional capacity, yes or no?
No, there was no payment. He would have been someone that knows Advocate. And that's solo the responsibility that he had.
My other question, Chairperson, through you, is that I would like to ask all three of the guests, did any of you, by any chance, because you all responded in a way to say you were in your already employed capacity when you were asked, received these letters, did any of you received emails prior to any of these meetings where you were summoned to attend, received any emails from the DG or any other official or office in this department not to attend, to protect your boss, and that the PC run by this chair, let's say, was postponed and not taking place? Yes or no? Let's go. Ms. Ngwenya, Ms. Amani, Mr. Solani.
No, there was no instruction not to attend. But with my apology of the previous meeting, I provided the context.
We did receive that letter, it's
Which
fine. Yeah, I just wanted a yes or no, because there were emails floating. Ma'am Samani?
Thank you, Honorable Member. No, I did not attend the meeting because I was off sick. Thank you.
My question is not that. Did you receive emails, whether you adhere to them or not?
No, I did not.
Thank you, Honorable Member. No, I did not receive any email of that nature.
Then, Chair, in conclusion, I would just like to ask, there was a question raised on Friday that the list was emailed to the Minister and the DG was CC. Did he receive the list via email? Because he just said he didn't see the list or was involved. So I just wanted to have a yes or no. Of the independent panel.
Okay. I never saw that list. I've never received any email. I never even knew who would eventually be in that list. I accepted the fact that the law doesn't allow me to appoint board chairs. And if I were to be part of any panel, it would be at the discretion of the accounting authority. But if I was not part of it, I accepted that, because I knew that at some point when the panel has been appointed, or when the chairpersons are appointed, then I will come. See, there's one thing in the law that is a problem. I sign SLAs with chairpersons, but I don't appoint them. So when they perform their duties, they don't see a need to account to me, because I'm not there, I've never appointed them. And I think that's what we're trying to fix in the amendments to e-legislation. Whether I liked it or not, I would not be part of the appointment of this panel or be part of the processes that are there unless I am asked to do so. And in this case, I was never asked, and because I was never asked to do so, but I was aware that processes are moving, because the accounting authorities whose task it is by law to do so was handling the matters. So I think, Honorable Member, I tried to.
No, you tried. you tried. And you are saying that that's what you are trying to do with the legislation. And you know that's why you and I are fighting about your submissions to the committee on the legislative parts. I've told you even when you submitted the APPs that the APPs are not, they suggest you are not urgent enough, or you're not in a hurry to help us to conclude on the matter. I've raised my issues with the Skills Development Act itself, the CT Act, and Higher Education Act. And on your APPs, I picked it up. Remember, I raised it with you guys to say, you can't want us to conclude the process at the end of the financial year in 2028, because that's what your APP in a medium term suggests, which I don't think is not going to help us. So we have agreed now that you have this opportunity in September to relook into the issue of the APP. Will do better in terms of what we want to achieve with the acts.
Agreed.
Thank you. Honorable Msazan.
No, thanks, Chair. I'll be very precise. The first question, just to be on record again, I just want to hear from the DG once more, even though he has indicated that he was not part of the process and he distances himself. There is an assertion that you were part of the process to only a degree of reallocating the responsibility to the DDG Ngwenya on managing the nominations of the non-executive board members of the entities program. That is as far as it went. I just want to confirm that again on record, DG.
The SETA coordination team does not sit with the corporate services. So all the time in the years, they were responsible for the administrative part of this. But the minister saw that they can't have the technical capacity to be able to assist with certain functions that fall outside of their functions, and so requested that going forward, because we are in the process of reviewing the organizational structure.
That's fine, DG. I just wanted to confirm on record again that that's as far as it went in terms of your participation in the process.
I wouldn't say participation because I've never participated.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of this particular responsibility of managing this process, you only participated in the consultation process where, with the minister, you reallocated the responsibility to the DDG on doing this process of managing these nominations.
No.
This is what the letter says.
No, honorable member. I've never participated in this process whatsoever. And
DG, I'm referring to the letter, the response letter from the DDG that says, in September and October 2024, following a consultation between the DG and the minister, a decision was taken to relocate the responsibility for managing nominations for the non-executive board members of the entities to this program. So I'm asking, for record purposes, that this is as far as it went in terms of your participation in this process, because this is it's undertaking the same process of these nominations and all of those things. So that's as far as it went in as far as your participation is concerned.
No,
or rather, this is not participation.
yes, absolutely not.
It was just consultation, as a by the way.
It was also not consultation.
So this is a lie.
The function to appoint.
Now you're playing with English, DTG. I'm asking about this response to say, this is the only thing you did in this process, the function, or however you want to, if it's not consultation, the function, however you want to explain it.
No.
Is this correct, or is this the DTG lying here?
Firstly, I can't speak on behalf of the DDG.
No, I'm referring to the response. So you would have disputed this if the DDG is lying.
I understand her to be saying what I have indicated to you. That's what I understand, but I'm not the one who wrote that letter. She's the one who wrote it. She can explain for herself.
Okay,
She
thank
has
you, Titi.
already
Thank you, Titi.
apologized for having made an insinuation that I might have cancelled the meeting, the preparations for the oncoming meeting. She's already done so. And so I've accepted that there could have been inconsistencies in the letter as she was trying to explain herself.
So
But
you are
I-
saying that the DDG is lying by saying this?
No, I won't say that. I won't.
Okay,
I won't
DDG,
even-
DDG, did the DG play this particular role in consultation as you are indicating in point 2 of your letter? Because the DG said he played no part in this process. But in your response, you say, following consultations between the Director General, Dr. Sishi, and the Honorable Minister Trankabane, a decision was taken to relocate the responsibility for managing nominations. So, is this accurate, or are you also going to apologize for this? Because the DG is now mentioning something I wasn't aware of, where you have apologized for, I don't know, misrepresenting his participation.
When I was informed by both the minister and the DG about that discussion following their decision, that from now on, finalizing the nomination process for boards of entities, councils for TVET, and will be coordinated from corporate services.
So you maintain that the DG was part of the process of that consultation and the minister. You stand by what you wrote here, so that I move, please.
Yes, when I was in.
Thank you. No, if you stand by what you've written here on record, thank you very much. You state that you were informed in March that the board chairperson is Advocate Mdao, but again in a response by Chief Director Ngubane, you indicate, Mr. Ngubane, that you were initially appointed as the board chairperson and you decided not to respond. Maybe I want to first understand your decision not to respond to the accounting authority. What does it entail? Can you just decide that because you view the appointment as flawed or unnecessary, you decided that you will not respond to the accounting authority being the minister? Mr. Ngubane.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I explained on Friday that,
I was not here, that's why I'm asking the question.
sorry, I explained that I did not respond because I viewed the appointment as part of my normal responsibilities.
I understand, that is what is written here. So I'm just trying to understand again that can you just up and decide to not respond to the accounting authority, and then the accounting authority then decides to appoint someone else as the chairperson? So is that how you operate in the department?
I did not respond.
Okay.
That one is true.
No, there was another question to the no, I'm done, Chair, but can I get the response from the DDG?
Sorry, Honorable Chair, I think I missed the. Sorry.
Chair, these letters are contradicting. The DDG says she was informed that the chairperson is Advocate Mdao in March. And then Mr. Ngubane, Chief Director, says in March again, he was initially appointed as the chairperson. So it means that the minister, former minister, would have appointed 2 different people to be the chairpersons of that same independent panel. So I'm asking, when was the DDG informed of Advocate Mdao? Obviously, it would mean that because Chief Director would have decided not to respond to the minister, therefore the minister thought, no, let me appoint another person. So when was she informed of Advocate Mdao being the chairperson in the same March? Because this both happened in early March or something.
The appointment letter appointing Advocate Mdao was received on the 16th of March.
Thank you. Nguban, what's the point of order?
I'm writing on a point of order for you to consider here, because I don't want to accuse you of being sexist or anything. I was asked by Ndate Solani to repeat a question that he did not understand. In doing so, you gagged me and refused for me to do so. Right now, Honorable Msezana's time is up. He's asked by Mayor Ngwenya to repeat the question that she didn't understand. You gracefully afforded him the grace to do so.
Yes.
So why are you being inconsistent when I have the responsibility to do so?
Close your mic. Point of order is why. You are asking a question or you want to, there's no point of order. Honorable Nguban.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'll start with TDG Ngwenya. TDG Rulani Ngwenya. You, as a secretary, you were the one that was supposed to kick off this process. So you didn't took it yourself to communicate to all the members and you of the panel, but you communicated with Advocate Mutau. Why didn't you communicate with other members of the panel to schedule meeting and to start the work? Why only Advocate Mutau?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Eventually, it will have come to a point where I will have made contact with all members. But at the beginning, it was to introduce myself to Advocate Terry Mutau and get to understand what type of support he will require and how we are going to unfold. Once we've agreed on that, one of which will have been, when is the meeting, the first meeting taking place? And I will then have gone to invite the others. But I thought it was courtesy that he just does not see an invite when he's the chair and he has not been contacted and he has not been given the authority to determine how the process was going to unfold.
Okay, all right. Now that we know, would you agree with me that you were really not the secretary of this panel? You were just the fake secretary that didn't do any secretarial work, that didn't took the minute, that didn't invite people, that didn't have recordings. So were your name fictitiously used as a secretary, which means you were not a secretary of this panel at all?
Thank you, Honorable Member. By appointment, I was. I may not have executed the functions related to the role that I was appointed for, but I was appointed as the Secretariat.
Okay, let me clarify my question again. A letter, receiving a letter, you are a secretary. Throughout the whole process until the appointment is done, secretary was nowhere. There were names, everything was finalized. I'm repeating again. Do you agree with me that you were a fictitious secretary of this panel that were never involved anywhere except meeting Advocate Mutau only? No minute, no recordings, no invite of the meetings, nothing, boom, at the end, there's names appointed, but you have no clue. Do you agree with me that you were a fictitious secretary that never was the secretary of the panel?
In that case, yes, sir, I agree.
Coming to Asisipo Solani. Asisipo, would I be correct that the whole process of appointing the board chairpersons, you ran it alone and only alone from the start till the beginning, and you were the one that was running this show for the minister?
Honorable Member, you are totally incorrect.
DDG issue. It's not the first time that the board chairpersons were appointed. It's been done for years. Would you agree with me that from this time on, the advisor to the minister took the process away from the norms of the department and ran the show away for the first time? Would you agree with me that all along we have a process within the department of appointing board chairpersons, of appointing the boards of SETAs, of appointing any board, and it's been working. It worked at NSFAS, it works everywhere, but only this one was taken out from the department by Asisipo. Hence, we have things falling apart.
Honorable member, if I look at two processes, the one in the past and the one they say, they are different. And I think that is what I can say. They are different, and what makes it different? In the past, there weren't any independent panel. The department would handle the processes according to how you know it. So that makes it the difference. But I have a lot of respect for my colleagues, and I feel that I might not make comments to characterize them in a way that is outside of the processes as I understand it.
Thank you. Again, DDG, I'm asking simple question. They are in the department working process.
Yeah.
The advisor to the minister ran the show outside for the first time, hence we're having a failed process. It's just a yes or no.
Because I did not know in the first place that the advisor was part of the panel, I wouldn't have known up until now, just like you know, like everybody knows. Now, on hindsight, as I listen to the comments and the responses to questions and lots of coverage of these issues, in the media and elsewhere, I have come to understand that there were deviations.
Okay, on my last question to Asisipo again. Do you think, Asisipo, the whole process was compromised in the office of the minister by yourself? Don't you think that by so doing, you brought the department into disrepute? By just doing what you did to take the system outside and run with it and not use the old system, and you compromised the minister on the whole situation by advising him wrongly? Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Chair. Honorable member, firstly, let me put it this way. I did not run away with any process. I did not act in any way that would have compromised the department. I am not sure what are the bases of those allegations, but I want to state it on record. I did not take any process and run away from it. The process was not headed by me. There was a particular process, panel, that there's explicit information given on how things would have unfolded. So as for making such strong accusations that I would have taken a process and ran away from it, I don't get the basis of that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Khabo?
Thank you very much, Chair. Thanks for the opportunity. Probably let me start with the DG. DG, for how long have you been a DG of this department? 4 years. Okay. Can it be on record, DG?
Yes, from 2021.
From 2021?
Yes.
All right, no, thank you. Let me start my question firstly with Mr. Solani. My apology if I do not pronounce your name properly. Can I just check with you, what is your highest academic qualification?
I hold a master's degree. in political science.
Master degree in political science. All right, thank you very much. How many times have you met Advocate Terry?
I met Advocate Terry once.
You met Advocate Terry once. Okay. Who accompanied you to that meeting of Advocate Terry?
Mr. Luvo Makasi.
Okay, between you and Mr. Lovo Makasi, who reached out to Advocate Terry firstly to secure a meeting?
I would have attempted to get hold of Advocate Terry, but I would have needed someone that knew him. So because Luvo Makasi is in the legal fraternity, so as I would have asked around people that I know that they've been in the legal space. He happened to be someone that he said, no, he has worked with Advocate Terry back in the years, and because they have been both in the legal space for some time.
Okay.
So I would have requested him to attempt to facilitate that meeting. So he would have reached out to Advocate Terry to facilitate that introductory process.
That process of, that facilitation of an introductory meeting, was it before he was informed that he was the chair of the panel, or the intention of that meeting was to inform him that he was appointed as the chair of the panel?
I would not want to mislead the House. I can't think of the exact dates around that, honorable member. So I would not want to really.
Okay, let me put it in this way. After you had failed to get hold of Advocate Terry, who instructed or who requested Mr. Luvo Makasi to get hold of Advocate Terry?
Okay, I think let me attempt to explain it, honorable member, this way. So I would have looked for someone senior in the legal fraternity. So chief among other names, the name of Advocate Senior Counsel Terry came out. So now it was upon me to see how do I get hold of Advocate.
All right, let me assist you to assist me in the process. Ne? Between you and Mr. Luvo, you said that he reached out to Advocate Terry as a way of assisting you to facilitate an introductory meeting. My question is, at the time of you reaching out to Advocate Terry, was he already appointed as a chair, or the intention of the meeting was to inform him that the department or the minister is intending to appoint him as the chair of the panel?
That is why I said, honorable member, earlier, I'm not sure if at the time he had received the correspondence or not. So I don't want to mislead the House, the committee on that.
All right. The instruction to reach out to Advocate Terry, was it an instruction of the minister or your individual decision?
I would have not take decisions on individually. It will be in consultation and engagement to my boss.
Is it an instruction or not from the minister? Yes or no? Was it an instruction from the minister that you must interact with Mr. Makasi so that he can facilitate a meeting with yourself and Advocate Terry?
No, I would have asked around who would have known Advocate Terry in the legal fraternity. Then I would have reached out.
Let me tell you, and I would want you to tell me if Advocate Terry is lying or not. Advocate Terry alleges that Mr. Makasi reached out to him and informed him that he has been appointed as the chair of the panel even before he could receive the letter of appointment. Is he telling the truth or is he lying? Don't explain, Klegas.
Honorable member.
Or you don't know?
No, I would not know because it is a conversation between Advocate Terry and Luvo Makasi. So I would really be not in a better position to respond to that.
What was the reason of Luvo Makasi? I'm not sure of the name. What was the purpose of him staying or forming part of the meeting after he has facilitated an introductory meeting?
The meeting was more of a meet and greet in introductory. It did not discuss any sensitive match issues. So Luvo Makasi would not really would have participated in that meeting. It was a matter of, this is Mr. Solani, this is Advocate Terry, then we'd
All right,
introduce
it's
and
fine.
exchange
It's
contacts.
fine, let us not be technical. Going to the issue of, I'm looking at the time also, Chair. Going to the issue of Mr. Luvo, would you conclude that his presence in that meeting had no influence on the outcomes of the process that he had started?
Can you please repeat the question, Honorable Member?
In your response, you said that, let me just try and get the name because I get irritated when people do not pronounce my
It's
name.
Luvo Makasi.
Yes, Mr. Luvo Makasa. You said that his role was just to facilitate a meeting. He did not actually participate in any of the process. Ne? My question is, would you conclude, or maybe let me leave that one, Chairperson, to avoid being adventurous like I've seen other members playing to the gallery, let me not be tempted. Thank you very much.
We like your discipline. At least you are not accusing me of being sexist. Honorable Souls.
Honorable Chairperson, I refuse to join those that considers meaningless fights a superior logic and fake GNU partners in pretending that this exercise is fruitful. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Very fruitful. Honorable Low.
Chair, I'm not going to be much. DG, are you aware of the audit AGSA report of 10 September 2020? And then in the AGSA report, section 11, I want to read this for you. Audit finding. Non-compliance identified on the appointment of members of the accounting authority. Section 11, subsection 2, paragraph AB of the SDA states that subject to paragraph B and section 13, subsection 2, the minister must appoint 14 persons as members of the accounting authority of SETA, the members referred to in paragraph and chairpersons. Are you aware of the advice the AG gave to the department while you were in the department?
I was not yet in the department at that time, but I'm aware of it. And I can explain.
No, it's fine, don't explain.
Okay.
So, DG, who does Ndado Gubani report to? It does Ndado Gubani report to you or to the minister?
It's to Mr. Mvalo.
Who does Mvalo report to?
Mr. Mvalo reports to the DG.
Okay, I'm a bit lost and confused. You are the Director General of the department. You preside over the administrative authority of the department. Your duty is to advise the department on any other matter. And any other correspondence that arrives from the department, who receives it is not you as the DG.
Okay, I think I understand your question.
No, I've not asked the question yet. Wait. Inkekele mungwame ke a go kopa re bogile ke ngena for 3 months. Jana o inkekele le nna ke la ke kgonegile ke na le depression. Ya go department ga e dire tsone bana ba safara ga gona di allowance and DG ga itse sep. E tshwana ka MM ko maspaleng. A re ene ga itse gore why di fleet di tswile ko maspaleng and go tsa gona go respond towards that. So inkekele pele mungwame o arabe se ke go botsang shone ke lebogile. Jaanong DG ke a botsa. Are you saying you as the Director General, you wouldn't know or you wouldn't advise the minister, albeit that you are not appointing, on any administrative issues that concern the department?
Thank you very much. The law prescribes that this process is the process that is located within the ministry, and the minister is responsible and not the DG. That's the inconsistency that causes the issue of an official supporting the minister, but the line at that time does not go through the DG. To fix it, you fix the law. And at this point in time, that's what we are working with.
DG, I'm asking, by the time when the names were given to you as the DG, wouldn't you advise the minister otherwise based on the fact that you knew about the AGSA audit outcome that advised against the same process?
Thank you. The names were given to me at the same time as they were presented to the NSA in a meeting. That was the first time I got to know about the names together with all members of the NSA and the rest of the public.
DG, ke a go kopela o mongwe wa me. As the DG, when you got about the name, what was your reaction? What did you do?
Okay, when I got the, when I received the names, my reaction was, I wish DGs were involved because they would be able to provide guidance and advice. Honest and fearless advice. And that's the character of the SESHI, that is the DG of higher education. Honest and fearless.
Chair, I'm not going to ask questions anymore. That is Solani. Before that, I'm going to give my closing. Is it allowed that you consult outside the department without having to consult the legal department or department out of your own will, as per Labor Relations Act and as per the policy of the department?
I think on the legal issues, the vintage point becomes a department.
Now, what informed you to go and get your friend or your comrade or your colleague to come and advise the department, whereas he does not have jurisdiction?
I don't have any recollection, Chair, where I would have said someone outside the department gave a framework and advice to the department. I don't know where the member might have got that.
Sorry?
I'm saying I don't recall having said that I would have went to get a friend or anyone to give a legal framework or any advice to the department who's not working in the department.
How did Mr. Luvo get involved?
Again, let me go back again. Mr. Luvo was the means of me reaching out and trying to get Advocate Terry to facilitate that meeting, not to contribute in any legal framework or process.
Okay.
He became
Keep
a
up,
middle.
it's okay,
He
it's okay,
became
it's
a
okay.
middle person.
Thanks, sir. I don't have time and I came late. The moment you go outside external, not internal, it's a misconduct. It's not allowed as per the Labor Relations Act and the policy of the department. Any matter concerning the department, concerning appointments, you work within the confines of the law and the department, and you go to the relevant department, you submit your right and say, given the fact that I'm confronted with this, I must advise the minister. I need this advice as which process to follow, because previously we could have had this particular problem. And I expect you, as a master's degree holder, to understand the day-to-day running of government. Now, here, Chair, the department is playing a cat and mouse with ourselves and the people of South Africa. Everybody knows about this thing. The DDG has indicated in a letter that is black and white that the DG was quite informed and involved in the process. The DG is misleading this parliament and is saying was no, there's no way a subordinate of any other person or any other leader in an institution cannot know what are the reactions or what are the performing duties that are going to be performed by that person. So I am going to propose and maintain that the DG be brought to book, and I've concluded, me as Honorable Sudugal Notepo Law, that part of the problems at the department is the DG, who had a duty to advise and played administrative oversight role. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this is where, okay, DG, you can come in.
Chair, I would request your protection. Firstly, I received a letter saying that I might have led to certain officials not attending the portfolio committee meeting. At that time, I was not a DG, there was an acting DG, and I was out of the country to do national duty. The person who might have written this apology in such a way that such a conclusion is made has apologized. But there is no apologies to me. Some of the members of this committee have tried to move outside of what is the purpose of what the questions that are asked to the question, to try and suggest that I was involved or I might have participated. And I've indicated consistently all the time that I've been here that I really would love to appoint chairpersons. I can assure you. Give me a chance to appoint chairpersons, you will see. But the law doesn't allow me to do so. But I am the DG of the department. And as a DG of the department, I'm not unaware of what's going on in the department. So if, for example, the minister perform her duties as the minister and accounting authority of our department, and these are written and are there in the law, what must I do? Advice that we provide to accounting authorities, it's advice that we provide all the time. On the day I saw the list, I saw it together with everybody else. There was absolutely no time to actually intervene at that stage. And I feel I'm unfairly, placed in a position where not even, slightest, indication by those who were involved include the DG in what they say.
Yeah.
But some people want to include the DG there.
Okay.
I
can
think
see
it's
sure.
unfair.
Yeah. Sorry, DG. Maybe you came in early. Maybe I was going to protect you because you came in before I could ask. But I've also noted that your PLO has also brought in new glasses. Maybe in China, where you got two, because you've got new glasses. David also has got new glasses. But on a serious note, last week we had taken a number of decisions. One of them was to bring you to explain this thing. I wanted us to finish with the panelists so that we can come to the departmental issues. That's what I said at the beginning of the meeting. And the DDG clarified that part. In fact, even before the DDG clarified that part, last week, Mr. Mabuzangubani clarified that there was there might have been a confusion, but it was clarified. But without the DDG explaining, we will not have written to you again. We wrote to you indicating that DG, we want you to come and explain these particular things. Unfortunately, we did not deal with it, right? But it has been clarified, at least by two of the officials in your department. Maybe, on a lighter note, maybe by Tusila DG, but it has been clarified. And we accept the clarification that there was no malice from the department, from the office of the DG to cancel our meeting. There was, it was clarified by both of them that this was not the intention, and the DG Ngwenya has apologized. We take that part. So unless the DG says He wanted us to write him a letter to say, this matter has been clarified, we're fine. But we're fine with that part. Yeah, press the mic, DG.
I think the issue, Chair, would be the benefit of the doubt. If someone were to say these things about you and I'm there, you are my chair, I should be able to say this can't be. Cancel the, ask officials not to attend Parliament.
Yeah, we've clarified that, DG. Close the mic.
It's really serious.
Yeah, it affected you so much, you had to buy new glasses. Close the mic. So that we continue. I think what is clear here, members, which I think you'll also agree with me, is that in real terms, there was no independent panel. That is the first thing we must agree on. Maybe there was an intention to have a panel, but it was not implemented in a true sense of the word. Because people may have received the letters, but they did not even know what their roles would have been. But the intention was there to bring in this independent panel. I think that's the first one we must agree on, that there was no panel. Maybe there was an intention to have the panel, but the panel did not exist. Also indicate that there was actually no need in our meeting, including on the letter of the withdrawal of the chairperson from the minister on the 15th, on the 16th of May, to say that there was a panel that dealt with this issue. There was no need. Section 11 of the Constitution, oh Jesus, the Section 11A, 1A of the Skills Development Act empowers the minister to appoint chairpersons on her own, on a process that she can deem fit, as long as she can explain it. But it's up to her how she appoints. And if the minister would have said, I, as the minister, have appointed these particular people, I don't think would be here, would have brought in people from the department. They've got serious job. The DG Ngwenya, we have a lot of vacancies in the department. Should be busy there with those things. We've got principals and TVET colleges who are not appointed, who are supposed to be, who will not be here. And I don't know how many times we've taken officials from the department from doing what they're supposed to be doing on this matter that, in my view, could have easily been avoided. Could have avoided this thing, DG. It could have easily been avoided. If there was no panel, like we believe that there was no panel, there was no need to say there was a panel. In fact, these members would have been lighter today. But how the panel was brought to the attention of these members, it would have been that there was retired, experienced people with serious governance background from outside, independent. And when we received the names, there was only Advocate Muta was independent in a real sense. Because 2 are from the department and 2 are from the ministry. That can't be independent. Right? So that could have been avoided. And I agree, Honorable Lonzi, that there are certain acts that we must deal with, including the Skills Development Act that deals with the appointments not only of SETA board chairperson, SETAs, NSA, you know, NSF, and when we deal with it, we must deal with them clause by clause, DG. That is why when I criticized your legal department, I mean, in that meeting of the 30th, I don't know, the chief director there of legal stood up when we gave her a mic, I can't remember to say what. She said, somebody said, I think Honorable Loans was saying capable legal department. And she stood up and said, we are the dumbest according to Honorable Litsi. We have never said they are dumb, but we have said to them last year when we met in November, in our first threat plan with yourselves, we said, give us clause by clause, because we want to have a bite on what needs to be done. And you remember what they bought the one pager there. They did not, then they tell us they did not understand what we wanted. And when we criticize them, including them submitting to the minister, I mean the government gazette that you guys did, signed by the minister, about the statue, the university statue of CUT, ne? Where it allowed a register to be a register literally for life. It comes from you in the legal department. They come to you, then you look for the negative, good things, bad things, then you send to the minister. And I said, you guys send such a recommendation to the minister when currently we have a problem at the time, with the problem of somebody who was a vice chancellor who did not want to leave. We're happy that they've announced that he's leaving. But we have such a problem. And then you sign such a statute. It doesn't make sense. You see? So we ought to look at these things, the Skills Development Act. As it is, members, and I don't want us to leave here having some thoughts that the SETA board chairpersons, when they are announced, because the new minister must appoint these boards. When they are announced, there must not be an expectation that they will come and ask us. Unfortunately, as the law states now, it does not allow. It's up to us to lobby each other properly and say, what do we want to achieve with these things? And how do we go about, because there are certain clauses in the laws, I think, that the ANC will probably bring, MK will bring, you will bring a DA, EFF, IFP, PA, and say, this is the changes that we're looking for. Then we must sit down as the committee and say, how is this one going to help an ordinary person in Kofimbaba? How is this change going to affect a young child in Toyando? So when you bring changes, when you bring even the proposals, they must be grounded in helping our people on the ground. So, but what are we waiting for? The department. So DG, when we are going to criticize you, unfortunately there in the department, this is you. We are going to criticize you as long as we are not getting what we want. These members write to me almost all the time, complaining that they write to the department, there are no responses from the department. We write to the department, there are no responses. So some of these things, I mean, are not, it's as if they are designed for us not to account. So we are going to continue with yourselves properly. That's why I've got no questions for those people. I've concluded, I've read what they've said, I've listened to their letters, including even last week with Advocate Terry and Mr. Ngubane. It was clear that the intention was there, but this thing was not taken through. And therefore, the minister would have exercised his right, his constitutional right as given by Section 11(1)(a) of the skills development to appoint. She could have simply just said, I have appointed and I've listened to the public outcry. I'm taking responsibility, I'm restarting the process. This matter will not have been here. Will not have had people leave their work to be here. So we will have our preliminary report. We will put together a report as members. And if needs be, we will then, to afford the minister, former minister, the right to reply, if needs be. I don't see how it's going to help us if it's not part of the legislation, this thing of independent panel. If it's included, it would have made sense that these are the gaps on the independent panels. But our recommendations, I don't know how they're going to empower the new minister as well, because we're talking about something that is not legislated. Like I said earlier on, I do not think us doing this thing is going to help us in any way to enrich the Act. The Act, for me, needs a separate discussion for us. And that is why DG, when we give you the report for next term, this part of legislation will be on there. There's 3 things that we have agreed with you guys, that you must go prepare for next term. We are going to be a little bit serious, because there are certain things that we should be fixing easily. So we are going to including the legislation in the next term. I think members, we will engage colleagues with the department continuously. We want, I think at this stage you must, none of you here stood up when you were speaking and congratulated the new minister. I think you are very jealous. Instead, no, even in absentia, Honorable Guban, we're talking about the group that's in absentia and you stood up, you know. So I'm going to close it that way. But Honorable Khabo, you've got a point of order.
No, Chairperson, our probably point of order would be the right one. In summary, you must never be tempted to disregard our input in relation to the investigation of the administration. We have concluded, in fact, let us put our view straight. There's never been a panel here. We were taken for a ride, there's never been a panel. The DG has misled us. Part of our recommendation must include the investigation of the DG's role and other people that were involved in the process. Well, Chairperson, allow me, if you stop me, then let me do it in writing, then it's fine.
Yeah.
Because clearly now you are selectively catching, you are selectively consolidating.
Honorable Khabo, you are speaking over the chair. You are repeating what I've said. What you are saying, I've said it. There was never a panel that was set. No questions asked. I said at the beginning of the meeting, you are not here. The issues that we are going to continue with the department, I said it at the beginning, I've just said it now, that we are going to continue on these administrative issues with the department. That is what I've said in this meeting. So, because I had the phone ringing, I suspected maybe it might have been yours, or somebody disrupted you when I was saying these remarks. So you are forgiven for not hearing me when I said those things. No, the words are clear. We'll continue with the department and we'll close it at that. We want to congratulate the former Deputy Minister, the committee, ourselves, we are congratulating. What's the point of order?
No, Chair, the point of order is the we, because you are our chairperson. So
Yeah.
when you speak, you may
Yeah.
create an impression to the public that
Yeah.
we have reached a consensus on it.
No,
So maybe
no.
say this one in your capacity as a chairperson, because we
No.
don't congratulate the
It's okay.
minister. Yeah.
Honorable Low.
No, Chair, we, including us, we, some of who are agreeing,
Yeah.
so we can even agree to vote. We were agreeing.
Yeah.
So,
It's okay, colleagues. No, don't worry. We're congratulating the new minister and the deputy minister. I heard Honorable Lonzi saying that he can't wait to meet the new deputy minister. A very capable woman, former premier, serious credentials. We congratulate them. I want to thank you, colleagues. Oh, what's wrong, Honorable Ngwe?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. You know, out of this meeting, there are reports and recording. And I think it must be clarified because even in the apology did not say the Director General, said the office, someone in the office. So I thought, let me clarify so that you don't see a headline that says the Director General. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. We did say we have accepted. DG, in fact, Desiree last week asked Mr. Ngubane if he's afraid of being fired. Can we have order? Yeah, now I call her to order. If I call her to order, she'll say I'm sexist. DG, there was Honorable van der Walt asked SETA coordination to DG if he's afraid that he will be fired leaving our meeting after coming to say what he said. And DG, you're not helping us. No, I think I agree with Honorable Khaba. I think DG is a problem. Yeah, so DG.
Chair, in all honesty,
yeah,
the
but-
DG's office, whoever was responsible for
Yeah,
that.
I'm doing. So DG, let's do this. I spoke last week and I said there's this culture in the sector that is brewing, where somebody who differs with yourselves at the top, either as a whistleblower or as somebody else, they get to suffer. Not only in the department, well, at universities, we get that all the time. Students, they raise their dissatisfaction with some vice chancellor, they are suspended. There's this and that happens. A worker in some university appears before parliament and says, there's a problem of 1, 2, 3, 4, they are pursued by the powers that be. And it's a worry. In the SETAs, somebody raises a whistle blowing what against the CEO, they are fired. And I said, that can't continue. Because we'll be creating a culture of, I don't know what you call it, but we'll get a wrong culture. So we have to put it to a stop. So it can't happen in the department, where tomorrow we're told that DDG Ngwenya or Chief Director Mabuza are fired on the basis of what they said. They said they were not part of any panel. And maybe the DG would have given them brief and said, you must say you are part of a panel. That can't continue. DDG, we get a lot of complaints in the sector. That can't be. And when we write to you, some of these things, they end up in our laps. They are not, you can tell, this one, Parliament is not supposed to even be here. But when we tell them this, they even give us proof that we have written to this, a release of a certificate for TVET graduate. Since 2021, I've been writing to the department. No, why are you asking us for, please write to the department. They give us proof. Since 2021, then we must enter. We write to you guys, please, man. How do you expect these kids or these students to find employment, to participate economically? When they've passed, they don't owe, but you still don't give them the certificate. It can be. So some of these things, we end up doing them. And that is why sometimes you accuse us of wanting to be, or encroaching of being operational. You know, it's because your people in the department are not doing what they're supposed to do. I don't know how many students went back to universities this week who have not even received their May and June allowances. I don't know how many. It's bad. And if we ask, Kuri, it's as if we want this money, or maybe we've got shares of this money, of this allowance from students, because when we ask, Kuri, you can tell these people don't want to cooperate. Kuri, it's as if they're doing us a favor. Well, we're not doing these kids, these students, favors. Let's make sure. We have said we are going to interact regularly with NSFAS. I think when we open it, will be one of the first ones we're interacting with. When we meet with them, the DG, we want to see progress. Please go tell them. We want to see real progress. I want to say, these are the accommodation providers who wrote to you and said you have not paid them. This is the number that has been paid. These are the students who your system says they are funded. They have not received their allowances from February. And this is the number that has been receiving. So asking you, these are things that you may take that they are simple. They are not. If you are stuck at rest, if you are lucky enough, by the way, because others, they stay in rest where there's no Wi-Fi, no warm water, because their accommodation providers have not been paid for so long. They owe municipality, can't pay, they can't buy electricity, they can't pay for Wi-Fi. So these kids wrote exams now, taking a shower with cold shower if they were lucky, that they even had water, right? They don't have Wi-Fi. So please, DG, when you bring, when we come next time, we're going to be very serious, and we're not going to take any prisoners. So this is how we're closing the meeting. What is the?
No, Chair, I think I just have to give you the exact number. It's 27,000 of students that are returning, plus it's inclusive of returning students that have not gotten meals. 27,000 to be precise, so that when you give the DG homework, he knows the precise number that I got yesterday from NSFAS. 27,000 students.
No, thank you very much. No, it's a very good exigence. You know, it's like you got a call from the group that's giving you this number, but on a serious note, this is what we're talking about. So we're going to close our meeting. I want to thank you, Asisipe. I want to thank you, Rulane, Nelisiwe, for coming. I would like to appreciate. So, can you allow me to thank our panelists? No, hold on. I want to thank you for coming. Sometimes people are afraid to come to our meetings because there's this bad picture that is painted about our committee. But you can tell, you see they're smiling, laughing all the time. So what you've seen out there, it's not true. These are very good people. They just have a responsibility to ask questions. They are representing millions of our people out there. Sometimes I would have to come in and guide them because they are very vicious sometimes. You must come in and stop because they are biting too much. But thank you very much for coming. TG, thank you very much. I know you arrived last night from China. You have not rested. You have not even open other bags of maybe other sunglasses or clothes, and but at least you managed to open one where you brought in the new glasses, and or two, because I see David has got a new pair as well. But thank you very much. Thank you very much, members. We have a 3-line whip now starting at 2. So let's go there. We are passing some bills before tomorrow's budget. The budget will go ahead, as I've long indicated. Thank you very much. The meeting is closed.